Chapter 46-56. Update the latest chapters as soon as possible. The property given by Shueyun Zong is a vast mansion. Looking at the entire Chuzhou city, it is also a first-class mansion. Under the arrangement of the Shueyun sect leader, Duan Lingtian, and his family moved in smoothly. Even because he had no intention of keeping a low profile, Duan Lingtian let the Shueyun sect arrange it. So everyone in Chuzhou City knew that the Shueyun sect gave this mansion to the man who had just defeated the Tungyun layman not long ago. Strong casual cultivator, the reverse divine sword Duan Lingtian. For a time, the name of the inverse divine sword Duan Lingtian swept through the entire Chuzhou like a hurricane with the city as the center. We in Chuzhou also have super strong men who have reached the 7th level or above. I heard that Duan Lingtian, the anti-god sword, defeated our former strongest man in Chuzhou, the layman Tingyun of Shueyun sect, in just one encounter. The 7th level and the 6th level are the watershed. Such a gap is normal. Before that, on the day of the housewarming when Duan Lingtian moved his family, all the big forces in Chuzhou basically sent people over. Either the sect leaders, family patriarchs, gang leaders came in person, or the top leaders of the major forces. The strong man comes in person. What Duan Lingtian didn't expect was that the old guy from Shueyun sect, also known as Jusher Tungyun, stayed shamelessly, saying that he could help Duan Lingtian with some trivial things, but in fact he just wanted to from Duan Lingshan's side. He further improved his swordsmanship. Duan Lingtian didn't drive him away, because there were indeed benefits to keeping him. He could only occasionally point out problems in the opponent's swordsmanship, but he could get the opponent to help him conscientiously, and there was also a top sect in Chuzhou behind him for him to control, which was of no harm to him. But when the layman Tungyun stayed, he suddenly became the housekeeper of the Duan mansion. After the news spread, it triggered a series of shocks. The anti-god sword Duan Lingtian not only defeated the former strongest man in Chuzhou, but also made him willing to stay by his side as a housekeeper and handle trivial matters for him. For a time, many people across Chuzhou were discussing this matter. It's simply outrageous. The dignified Shueyun sect ancestor, a strong man who has entered the 6th level of Taoism, is willing to be a butler. In my opinion, your vision is too low and your structure is too small. That Shueyun sect ancestor, he was also the #1 person in Chuzhou in the past. How could he be a brainless person? Now, he is willing to condescend to follow Master Duan Lingtian, which shows that he is doing this will get him the benefits he wants. I think that's the case too. Old monsters like Master Tungyun are those who don't see rabbits and don't let go of hawks. Will they do things that cause losses? Anyway, I don't believe it. As far as I know, Master Tiyun is entering the Tao with a sword, and the name of Master Duan Lingtian is the anti-sword of God, which means that he also enters the Tao with a sword. As a strong person who has entered the 7th level of the Tao, his swordsmanship must be above the 7th level. According to me, look, Master Tungyun is pretending to be a butler, but he wants Master Duan Lingtian to help him improve his swordsmanship. You still see clearly. At the same time, in a small town called Qiansheng in Chuzhou, a young, beautiful woman with a refined temperament was walking out of a restaurant with a girl wearing a light golden dress and looking like jade. After people leave the city, then we headed towards Chuzhou City. Sister Xuanai, the anti-god sword Duan Lingtian they are talking about must be Brother Lingtian. The girl said to the young woman with a very firm tone. It's obvious. The young woman smiled and said, if it's just a name, it could be the same name. With the name Inverse Divine Sword, who else could it be if he wasn't my brother? Brother is not someone who likes to be in the limelight. He is so famous in Chuzhou. I think he came here just to look for us. He wants us to go to Chuzhou City to find him as soon as we know his traces. This young woman is none other than Han Xuanai. As for the girl beside her, it is Xiao Jin. In the past, when they were still part of the divine heritage land in the small world inside Duan Lingtian, they initially practiced with Duan Siling, Duan Yintian, Xiao He, and Xiao Bai, but later they were divided into 3 teams, each an experience everywhere. She was with Xiao Jin, Duan Siling, and Xiao Bai together, Duan Yintian and Xiao He together. But they didn't expect that such a big change would suddenly happen. The land of divine heritage was destroyed and the turbulent space collapsed. Then the two of them also wandered into Chuzhou in this divine land world. It took them a while to find the people, and came to in a small city called Qiancheng. They had been here for a few days and had no intention of leaving rashly. But today they heard rumors about the anti-sword Duan Lingtian. They knew that it was their brother Duan Lingtian, so they decided to leave immediately. City, and went to Chuzhou City to reunite with his brother. Although they have not yet entered the Tao, their strength is not bad. When they were still in the land of divine relics, they received the most powerful godhead from Duan Lingtian to assist in their cultivation. In addition, there was no shortage of various training resources, and they successively stepped into the realm of the gods. Respect the realm. Along the way, although I encountered bandits, I dealt with them easily. Finally, we arrived at Chuzhou City successfully. After a little inquiring, they found out where the Duan mansion was. It was also at this time that they realized that although their brother Duan Lingtian had become famous in Chuzhou for a short time, his intimidating power in the city and even the entire Chuzhou was far greater than that of the former strongest man in Chuzhou, Tingyun Jusher. Even when they came outside Duan Mansion, they could still see some people queuing up to give gifts. The purpose of these people is to join their brother Lingtian, follow their brother Lingtian to understand the way of swordsmanship, and enter the way with the sword. 2 girls. You are also here to become a disciple? Naturally, it is impossible for layman Tingyun to be stationed at the door of Duan Mansion. The people guarding here are the more clever elders of Shuiyun sect arranged by layman Tingyun at the request of the Shuiyun sect leader. As for ordinary Shuiyun sect disciples, he felt that they were not worthy guard the door for the respected Lord Duan Lingtian. Hello, Senior. Please inform Mr. Duan Lingtian that our old friends Han Shu and I and Xiao Jin are visiting. Han Shu and I said politely to the old gatekeeper who asked him. She did not directly explain the relationship between her and Duan Lingtian, fearing that the other party would mistakenly think that she was looking for an excuse to have with him, so she just visited her normally. As long as her brother Lingtian heard the report, he would naturally come to pick her up. Let's go in. Old friend? After hearing this, the Shuiyun sect elder did not dare to neglect and reported it immediately. Of course, he was not qualified to go to Duan Lingtian directly. He was looking for layman Tingyun. Uncle, 2 girls came outside, saying they are the old friends of Lord Duan Lingtian. After Master Tingyun received the notification, he immediately went to find Duan Lingtian. After Duan Lingtian heard the names of Xuanai and Xiao Jin from the mouth of Master Tingyun, his eyes suddenly lit up. He knew that his plan was beginning to show results. Xuanai and Xiao Jin must have happened to be living in Chuzhou, otherwise no maybe he came to your door so quickly. It's Xuanai and Xiao Jin. Duan Lingshan's wife Li Fei also heard the announcement from layman Tingyun and was so excited that she ran out immediately. Duan Lingtian followed behind. When he arrived at the gate of Duan Mansion, he saw his wife Li Fei hugging 2 familiar slim figures, and a smile appeared on his face. Xuanai and Xiao Jin found it. This is a good start. Chapter 46-57. Elder Brother. Elder Brother. When Han Xuanai and Xiao Jin saw Duan Lingtian, they immediately left Li Fei's arms in excitement and threw themselves at Duan Lingtian. Tears of excitement fell down. In a completely unfamiliar environment, their sense of crisis increased greatly, especially since they had been protected by Duan Lingtian before. Comparing the two, they were like the difference between hell and heaven. I really didn't expect that the first ones I found were you 2 girls. Duan Lingtian also hugged the 2 girls one by one, smiled and patted their backs, and then separated them after a few words of comfort. In his eyes, the 2 girls are no different from his biological sisters. A quarter of an hour later, all the family members and friends around Duan Lingtian sat together, listening to the 2 daughters Han Shu and I talking about what happened after they ended up living here. Before coming to Chuzhou City, they also had a certain understanding of the world. Of course, Duan Lingtian doesn't know many things as well as he does. They didn't know the legend of the creation life chart. When they heard Duan Lingtian mention this, they were all shocked. They didn't expect that the world they used to live in, and the place outside the world, might actually be the creation of the world. An independent world opened up in the natal chart. No wonder the existence of laws cannot be sensed here, Xuanai suddenly realized, and the little face carved with gold powder and jade was also full of surprise. In any case, the arrival of Xuanai and Xiao Jin gave everyone a boost in the arms. As time goes by, family members and friends will definitely come to seek refuge. Perhaps there are other people from the god-defying realm who know Duan Lingtian coming. And this is indeed the case. Half a month later, another person came to Duan Mansion in Chuzhou City and approached Duan Lingtian. The person who came was actually Zhaoani from the Qingyan holy sect in the land outside the boundary. When Duan Lingtian met him for the first time, he was the strongest member of the Qingyan holy sect, a saint with considerable strength, the strongest 6th level. The presence. Later, he also stepped into the 7th level of the strongest. Here, he also has the ability to enter the 7th level. It seems you didn't enter the Tower of Babel. Seeing Zhaoani again, Duan Lingtian couldn't help but sigh. When his master Feng Qingyang followed his wife to the outside world, he asked his master to say hello to Zhaoani and remind him not to enter Tongtian again. Tower. At that time, his thought was that he should be reminded that as for Zhao Inya's choice, it was entirely up to him. Now it seems that Zhaoani has listened. Speaking of which, thanks to Brother Lingtian for your reminder. Zhaoani cupped his hands in front of Duan Lingtian and said, "That day, Brother Feng also specifically mentioned in his message that you asked him to call Mr. Ming of Bibo Tianfu to inform me. Actually, at that time I didn't quite believe that there would be problems with the Tower of Babel. It's just that I feel that you won't do it without aim. So, I just refrained from entering the Tower of Babel again. But I didn't expect that something would really happen to the Tower of Babel. Before the land outside the boundary was destroyed, the turbulent space receded, and the law of elements disappeared. Zhaoani also witnessed the collapse of the Tower of Babel and heard the horrific screams coming from inside. It was horrifying and unforgettable. After some exchanges between the two, Duan Linkai found out that Zhaoani had also heard about the legend of the creation life plan and concluded that the worlds and places outside the world were most likely to be the world created by the creation life plan. That Yueyuo is the master of the creation chart. However, he was caught, but I don't know if he was killed. In fact, I was not living in Chuzhou at first, but in another state next to Chuzhou. I came to Chuzhou because I wanted to get some information. When I realized that my strength was comparable to the 7th level strongman here, and that the strongest person in Chuzhou was only the 6th level, I also tried to defeat him, replace him, become famous everywhere, and then gather together my thoughts as a survivor of the Qingyan holy sect. Unexpectedly, I received news within a few days that Shuiyun's sect Tengyun layman was defeated by a reclusive strongman named Duan Lingtian, and he was willing to become his follower, riding in front and behind. After I learned about the name of the anti-god sword that you promoted to the outside world, I guessed that it was you, so I came to look for you. It was rare for old friends to reunite. So Zhaoani stayed with Duan Lingtian for a few days before leaving. There is Duan Lingshan's Duan Mansion in Chuzhou, and people who want to come to their Qingyan holy sect may also come here. Therefore, he planned to go to another state to make a name for himself, become a well-known figure there, and become the second Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian made an agreement with him to send someone to inform him after he has established a foothold. If someone from the Qingyan holy sect comes to Duan's house, Duan Lingtian will send someone to take him to Zhaoani, and Zhaoani will also help arrange the for Duan Lingtian. Family and friends. Mutual benefit and mutual assistance. The two of them already had a friendship, and since they were in a foreign land, it was natural for them to work together. Soon, as time went by, many old friends came to Chuzhou City Duan Mansion one after another. They were either people from the Nishan realm, or people from Bibo Tianfu, Qingyun's sacred sect, or the 13 cities of the Western Jin dynasty. Duan Lingtian placed them one by one. Soon, news came from Zhaoani. Zhaoani defeated the most powerful person in Yunzhou and became the new #1 person in Yunzhou. He also named himself Old Man Qingyun and also had a mansion of his own in Yunzhou, named Qingyun Mansion. After Duan Lingtian received the news, he sent someone to send several disciples of Qingyan holy sect over. Not long after sending the person away, Zhaoani also sent someone over. The third master of the Xia family, Xiajia, was sent over. Third uncle. Both Duan Lingtian and Kier were very happy to see Xiajia again. Compared to Xiayu, the head of the Xia family, the two of them are closer to Xiajia. Later, several more powerful people from the God realm came to the Duan Mansion. For them, in this strange world, it was much better for them to take refuge with Duan Lingtian, an 8th-level powerhouse like them, than to live by themselves. Master Duan Lingtian is actually a powerful person on the 8th level. At the same time, Master Tingyun also learned from a powerful person in the Nishan realm that Duan Lingtian had mastered the 8th-level swordsmanship and was a genuine 8th-level expert. It could be said that he was severely frightened. Jump. Before that, he had always regarded Duan Lingtian as a being on the 7th level of the Tao, but he didn't expect that he was a powerful person who had entered the 8th level. It didn't take long. Another unexpected person came to Duan Mansion in Chuzhou City. Duan Lingtian has actually never seen this person before. However, there is a lot of connection with him. This is a young girl who looks quirky. When she saw Duan Lingtian, she smiled and said, "I didn't expect that I found you first before I found Chimei and the others. Senior nephew Duan Lingtian, I have long admired your name." Chapter 46-58. Update the latest chapters as soon as possible. This is a girl who looks to be about 13 or 14 years old. She has 2 braids on her head and pretty cheeks carved with pink and jade. I felt pity for her when I saw her. Although Duan Lingtian has never met her, he has heard of her more than once. The second city lord of the 13 cities in the Western Jin dynasty was Yu Xiao. She is also the second sister of his junior wife, Xue Qingzhu. Uncle Yu. Duan Lingtian smiled bitterly. He couldn't help it. He was really lower in seniority than the other party. After all, the other party's 7th sister was his junior wife. Good. Yu Xiao laughed and looked very optimistic, not at all pessimistic about the old friends who Duan Lingtian had come into contact with before and came to this strange world. The two chatted for a while, and Duan Lingtian was the first to ask, "Uncle Yu, do you plan to go out and make a name for yourself and gather people from the 13 cities of the Western Jin dynasty?" Now, they are probably scattered all over the world. While communicating with Yu Xiao, he also learned that Yu Xiao also knew the existence of the creation life plan, and also guessed that the place outside the world where she was previously was a world created by the creation life plan. "I'm lazy." Yu Xiao yawned and shook his head. "Leave this kind of matter to your elder brother. From today on, I will stay at your house and wait for Chimei and Chishi brother-in-law to come to you." Seeing Yu Xiao's lazy look, Duan Lingtian was speechless for a while. He had long heard the master's wife talk about this person's glorious deeds and knew his character, but when he came into contact with him seriously, he still couldn't help but feel deeply moved. How did such a lazy person reach the 6th level of the strongest and become a saint before the Tower of Babel appeared? Later, after the Tongtian Tower appeared, the other party became the second most powerful 7th-level powerhouse in the 13 cities of the Western Jin dynasty, after Xue Qingzhu. Although the laws of the divine earth world have disappeared, the opponent's strength is still comparable to the 7th level of the Tao in this world. "Uncle Yu, I heard Zhaoani from Qingyun Holy Sect say before that not only could he not sense the existence of the power of law in the world of gods and earth, but the power of bloodline has also disappeared. Is the power of your bloodline still there?" Duan Lingtian thought about this and couldn't help but ask. Yu Xiao nodded. "My bloodline power has also disappeared. If I guessed correctly, the so-called bloodline power of the Aboriginal people in our outside world also appeared based on the power of law. It's just not like the law clone of you people from all realms, which directly targets the law. In the past, the powerful people from all realms did not have the power of blood as a basis. That was the method of the indigenous people in the outside world. The avatars of the laws possessed by powerful men in all realms cannot be condensed by the natives of the lands outside the realm. It can be said that each has its own advantages. Unexpectedly, all realms and the land outside the realm were destroyed, and all living beings fled to the world of gods. All these methods were lost in the dust of history. Duan Lingtian knew that after the world was shattered, it was almost impossible to go back. Unless we get the creation chart to see if we can repair the ruined world, then there may be a glimmer of hope. However, that must be a very difficult thing. However, he still wanted to try it if given the chance. After all, that is his hometown, and it means a lot to him, and even to people like him who live in the world of the gods. "Uncle Yu, since you don't plan to go out and make trouble, otherwise, will this part of my house be left to you?" We'll just go out and try my best to become more famous. I can also get along with Master Nyang and the others faster. Reunion. Once I'm reunited with Master Nyang and the others, tell them you're here and they can come directly to you, Duan Lingtian said. As you sit here, you only need to protect my family and give them a safe cultivation environment. Yu Shaonai is a being on the 7th level of Taoism. It couldn't be easier to save his Duan mansion and his family in Chuzhou. He didn't plan to take too many people with him when he left this time. At most, Huaner and Kier should be brought with them. Both girls have already entered the Tao. As for the other people who have never entered the Tao, it is better to let them stay here to practice. He can rest assured that Yu Shao will protect him. That's no problem. Yu Shao nodded. It's much better for you to go out and try it than for me. With my strength, the fame I can achieve is limited. You are different. With your strength, although it's only the 8th level of the Tao, but the general Tao on the 9th floor, I'm afraid it's hard for anyone to be your opponent. As Xue Qingzu's second sister, she had long known Duan Lingshan's industry from Xue Qingzu's mouth. She knew that Duan Lingtian not only understood the way of swordsmanship to the 8th level, but also had extremely high attainments in the way of control and the way of infinity. Hi. Now, she guessed that she might have entered the 7th level. Then it's settled. After getting Yu Shao's consent, Duan Lingtian breathed a sigh of relief, so that he could leave with peace of mind. After saying hello to Yu Shao and leaving, Duan Lingtian gathered his family together and told his plan at the same time. He is planning to leave Chuzhou and go to a place where there are more powerful people to further build his fame, so that his old friends, relatives, and friends who are still living abroad can reunite. Naturally, all the wives wanted to go, but Duan Lingtian only asked Huaner and Kier to accompany them. The reason was that they had already entered the Tao, and the others had not, so it was better to practice hard. When Li Fei and Feng Tianwu heard this, determination flashed in their eyes, and they were determined to sprint into the Tao. Duan Rufeng and Li Ro didn't feel much at all. They stayed in Chuzhou City for a while and felt that it was a good place and suitable for retirement. Han Xuanai and Xiao Jin were also a little disappointed that they could not go out with Duan Lingtian. They were also full of yearning for strength and decided to concentrate on training in the next time and enter the Tao as soon as possible. After explaining to his family, Duan Lingtian found a special time to introduce Yu Shao to them. After knowing that Yu Shao was Xue Qingzu's second sister, everyone was very enthusiastic. Uncle Yu, I will leave my family to you. A few days later, Duan Lingtian said hello to Yu Shao, took Huaner and Kier, and left together under the watchful eyes of Yu Shao and others. The procession that sent Duan Lingtian away was huge. Not only Yu Shao and Duan Lingshan's family members, but also some old friends from the past were there. Even the layman Tingyun of the Shuiyun sect was also there. Although he was a little disappointed with Duan Lingshan's departure, he was still inexplicably excited when he thought that Duan Lingtian had left him with some knowledge of swordsmanship before leaving. All your efforts over this period of time have finally paid off. Next, during the time when Lord Duan Lingtian is away, he must express himself better. As long as he wins Lord Duan Lingshan's favor, why can't he make further progress in swordsmanship? Brother Tian, let's leave Chuzhou. Where will we go next? Before leaving Chuzhou, Kier asked curiously. Until now, Duan Lingtian has not told Kier and Huaner the destination of their trip. Go to Jiangzhou, which is also the core area of Jianglan Divine Kingdom, and the capital of Divine Kingdom is there, Duan Lingtian said. Chapter 46-59. Update the latest chapters as soon as possible. To this day, Duan Lingshan's understanding of the world of divine soil is limited to Jianglan Divine Kingdom and the surrounding area. Chuzhou is just a relatively remote state in Jianglan Shan's country. If Duan Lingtian hadn't been born, there would have been no existence above the 7th level of the Tao in Chuzhou for many years. There are more than one person who has entered the 7th level of the Tao in some of the cities and towns within the Jianglan Divine Kingdom that are close to Jiangzhou, where the capital of the Divine Kingdom is located. In the core state of Jiangzhou, although there are not countless existences above the 7th level of Tao, there are still quite a few. If we don't talk about anything else, in the capital of the Kingdom of God, all the forces that can be named are among them. There is an entrance on the 7th floor, the strong ones above. Rumor has it that Jianglan, the patron saint of the kingdom of God and the great enshrinement of the royal family of the kingdom of God, is a super strong man who has entered the 9th level of the Tao. As the capital of the kingdom of God, it is naturally very prosperous. It is much stronger than Chuzhou City. However, for Duan Lingtian and his party, they did not feel much, because in the world they were in the past, in the land outside the boundary, there were many cities that were as prosperous as the capital of Jianglan Divine Kingdom, and they had also been there, so I don't think it's that strange. Here, Huaner, let's find an inn to stay first, and then he'll go out to do some errands, Duan Lingtian said to his wife beside him. The two girls also nodded sensibly, knowing that with their current strength, they can barely protect themselves. That's good. I can't help my husband. It's better to stay in the inn and practice hard. Strive to go further. There is basically no shortage of training resources, and my husband's personal guidance on Kendo means the road ahead is smooth. After arranging his wife, Duan Lingtian walked out of the inn, asked for directions, and finally went to a vast mansion in the capital. He said to several servants guarding the door, I am Duan Lingtian from Duan Mansion in Chuzhou, and I am here to come to your Hong Mansion. A strong one, Hong Dongchuan, is participating in the discussion. Please let me know. Hong Dongchuan is a well-known strong man in the Jianglan Divine Kingdom. He is a person on the 8th level of the Tao. He is also a big figure in the capital of the Divine Kingdom. In addition, the Hong family is still a relative of the emperor, so Hong Dongchuan is within the scope of the Jianglan Divine Kingdom. Status extremely high, respected by thousands of people. The mansion in front of me has a plaque with the word Hong Mansion hanging on the door. This is where the Hong family's mansion is located. When several domestic slaves heard Duan Lingtian's words, their pupils shrank slightly. They didn't look like they were joking, and most people didn't dare to make such a joke. After all, this kind of joke can kill people. Therefore, they did not dare to neglect, and a servant immediately turned around and returned to the Hong Mansion, and hurriedly went to find the person in charge of their Hong Mansion, the current head of the Hong family, Hong Wuji. After hearing the report from the slave, Hong Wuzi's pupils shrank slightly. Chuzhou, Duan Lingtian? It seems to be the anti-god sword Duan Lingtian. Although Duan Lingtian's current fame is not enough to spread throughout the entire Jianglan Divine Kingdom, Hong Wuji, as the person in charge of the Hong Mansion and the current head of the Hong family, has a lot of respect for God. There are many new strong men in various states in the country who know a lot about each other. Naturally, I have heard about the newly rising Duan Lingtian. In addition, in another state of Jianglan Divine Kingdom, another strong man who entered the 7th level of Taoism has emerged, named Zhaoani, who calls himself Old Man Qingya. Duan Lingtian, the anti-god sword, Qingyan Old Man Zhaoani. I heard that these two people have some contact. They all seem to appear out of thin air. Some time ago, I heard that the training place of the new master of Chuangshi Lifeban was found. Many powerful Hadao men took action, seriously injuring him and severely damaging Chuangshi Lifeban. It almost destroyed the world created in the creation chart, causing all the creatures in it to flow out. All parties in the world of Luoshintu. Are these two people from that place? As the person in charge of the Hong Mansion, Hong Wuji knew far more than ordinary people. However, Duan Lingtian, the anti-god sword, dares to come to our Hong Mansion and threatens to challenge the ancestor. I am afraid that it is not the 7th level of the Taoist mentioned in the rumors. I am afraid that it has already entered the 8th level of the Taoist. Thinking of this, Hong Wu couldn't help but feel a bit of fear in his eyes, and then he took his servants to the gate of Hong Mansion in person. Your Excellency, you must be the new strongest person in Chuzhou recently, Master Duan Lingtian of the anti-sword sword, right? Although Hong Wuji is the head of the Hong family, he himself is only on the 6th level of Taoism. He does not dare to neglect or make excuses in front of this young man in purple who looks very young. I am Hong Wuji, the person in charge of Hong Mansion. I heard that you came to Hong Mansion to challenge our Hong Mansion ancestors? Hong Wu's words were quite polite. Duan Lingtian nodded. I'm going to test the depth of the 8th level Taoist from your Hong Mansion. If I can beat him, I also hope that you, Hong Wu, can pull the strings so that I can have a chance to challenge the 9th level Taoist from the Imperial compound. Hearing this, Hong Wu's heart was filled with turmoil. What's the situation? This Duan Lingtian also wants to challenge the 9th-level member of their royal family of Jianglan Divine Kingdom, the being who is known as the guardian of Jianglan Divine Kingdom. Does he really have that strength, or did he drift away after becoming the number 1 person in Chuzhou? Lord Duan Lingtian, I will take you to see the ancestor. As for whether the ancestor is willing to spar with you, I dare not make the decision for him. Hong Wuji secretly took a deep breath, calmed down the restlessness in his heart, and said politely to Duan Lingtian. At the same time, he also had a lot of thoughts in his mind. It is said that the new owner of the creation life chart cannot completely control the creation life chart like the old owner of the creation life chart. Once the life that opened up the world in it has the strength to reach the 7th level of entry or above, it will be difficult for him to cover it up. Creation chart, their traces will be discovered and even hunted down. After all, he stole and reorganized the creation chart in order to imitate the old owner of the creation chart and wanted to follow the forbidden life sacrifice method. Under such circumstances, he actually allowed the beings inside to appear as beings above the 7th level of the Tao. Isn't this seeking death? No wonder he was discovered and almost killed. Good. Duan Lingtian nodded, and then followed Hong Wuji into the Hong mansion. Soon, in a quiet courtyard deep in the Hong mansion, he met the ancestor of the Hong mansion, the 8th-level Taoist who was famous in Jianglan Divine Kingdom, Prison Knife Hong Dongchuan. As his name suggests, what he is good at is the sword way among all the ways. Although Hong Dongchuan is the ancestor of the Hong mansion, he is actually a handsome young man. He looks to be about the same age as Duan Lingtian. After learning Duan Lingshan's identity and purpose, his eyes could not help but reveal something. Share fighting spirit. Chuzhou Nishinjian, I have heard of you. Some time ago, an old friend of mine told me that there is a new strong man in Chuzhou with a name that is quite similar to mine. The anti-god sword, the prison-suppressing sword, are indeed somewhat similar. Since you dare to challenge me, you must have entered the 8th level of the Tao, right? Chapter 46-60. Update the latest chapters as soon as possible. Hong Dongchuan is a cheerful person. After learning Duan Lingshan's intention, he agreed to his challenge. He even intended to build momentum for Duan Lingtian, and made an agreement with Duan Lingtian to fight on the highest peak Qingtian Peak near the capital of Jianglan Divine Kingdom in half a year. At the same time, the Hong mansion will spread the news widely from now on. Like Hong Wuji, he also guessed Duan Lingshan's identity and also guessed Duan Lingshan's purpose of eagerness to become famous, which was nothing more than to reunite his family and friends who were scattered across the divine land. Brother Lingtian, you should come from the world created by the creation life plan, right? Hong Dongchuan got straight to the point and made the point straight away. Hearing Hong Dongchuan's words, Duan Lingtian secretly took a deep breath. Unexpectedly, the other party guessed his origin. He quickly asked the other party how he guessed his origin. He had no intention of hiding his origins. That's not necessary. The owner of the creation life chart will be targeted by the powerful people in the world of gods and earth because he uses the new world opened up by the creation life chart to practice the forbidden life sacrifice method and exchange the spiritual life of all living things for the improvement of his own strength. Therefore, he provokes the world. Angry people blame. It can be seen from this that the powerful people in the world of gods and earth still prefer justice. Even if it is just superficial justice, it is still considered justice. If Jianglan Divine Kingdom only produced you, the anti-god sword, I wouldn't guess that you were from there. However, another old man Qingyun appeared later, and I had to connect you too. In the 2 states where the strongest people were originally the 6th level, 2 existences above the 7th level have appeared one after another. It makes people curious about your origins. It's like you appeared out of thin air. It's true that there are powerful people in the hidden world and the world of gods and earth, but basically it will take a long time for one to appear, or they won't be born at all. But you guys appear one after another, which makes people think deeply. Now, I am not the only one who guesses like this. Even the existences above the 7th level of Jianglan Divine Kingdom also guess like this. In fact, some people have long wanted to meet and communicate with you. If you don't come to the capital, I'm afraid it won't be long before someone goes to Duan Mansion in Chuzhou Prefecture to visit you. After hearing Hong Dongquan's words, Duan Lingtian realized that he was already the #1 figure in Jianglan Divine Kingdom and had entered the vision of the top powerhouses in Jianglan Divine Kingdom. At this time, Duan Lingtian also understood why Hong Dongquan had decided to announce the match 3 months later. This is intentional to help him. Just now, he thought that Hong Dongquan wanted to defeat him openly in front of more people, so as to satisfy his vanity. Now it seems that after some exchanges, he can also feel the kindness from the other party. It is obvious that he thought of the other party too badly. Thank you, Brother Hong. Duan Lingtian thanked him repeatedly, because he knew that as the news spreads in the Hong mansion, I am afraid that the entire Jianglan Divine Kingdom will spread about the showdown between the two of them half a year later. The strong men from Lanshan Kingdom will definitely be their field. Even outside Jianglan Divine Kingdom, there will definitely be people coming to watch the battle. Brother Lingtian is welcome. Hong Dongquan smiled slightly. You have just arrived, so you probably don't have a place to live in the capital, right? They'll ask Wu Ji to arrange a mansion for you and your wife to live in. Just now, during the communication with Duan Lingtian, he also learned that Duan Lingtian did not come alone. He also brought 2 ladies with him. Thank you, Brother Hong. In this way, Duan Lingtian, Kier, and Huaner also found a place to stay in the capital of Jianglan Divine Kingdom. Hong Wuji arranged a place for Duan Lingtian. After returning to Hong Mansion, he approached Hong Dongquan and asked, Ancestor, are you too kind to Duan Lingtian? He could tell that this ancestor had a love for money. You should know that I was born with sharp senses, especially after I entered Taoism. I am even more different from ordinary people. Hong Dongquan was sitting at the table drinking tea. After taking a sip of tea, his eyes flickered. Duan Lingtian, in addition to his understanding of swordsmanship, the realm is not weaker than my sword art. He should have also comprehended at least one kind of 10,000 ways above the 7th level. You should know what this means. As soon as Hong Dongquan said these words, Hong Wuji couldn't help but take a breath of air. How is this possible? It is extremely difficult to comprehend a Tao and advance to the 7th level. The second way is more difficult. For example, the ancestor of their Hong mansion is not only good at swordsmanship, he is also good at several other ways. However, among those several ways, the strongest ones only reach the 6th level. It is difficult to cross the threshold of the 7th level because he will be mastered. The Tao Dao of swords is rejected. Under the pressure of 8 levels of swordsmanship, trying to promote the other ways to the 7th level is difficult to achieve. In the current Jianglan Divine Kingdom, as far as he knows, there are only a few people who have promoted the second path to the 7th level. This has also established the status of those 2 as the strongest, making them stand in the Jianglan Divine Kingdom. The pinnacle is called invincible. One of them is said to have transcended the path of enlightenment and stepped onto the path of harmony. Looking at the entire world of gods and earth, there are only a few dozen powerful Hudao people. It is said that if you want to merge with the Tao, the first threshold is to comprehend the 2 Tao to the 7th level or above. The second threshold is to comprehend the 2 Tao to the 9th level or above. Fusion of the 2 Tao will open up your own path. A brand new way, and the combination is successful, is the 3rd threshold. Only when all 3 thresholds are passed can one achieve harmony. The difficulty of harmony has existed throughout ancient and modern times. Only when you have passed the first threshold can you be considered qualified to be a Taoist. Being friends with such a person will bring no harm to me or the Hong mansion. After hearing Hong Dongquan's words, Hong Wuji knew that what the ancestor just said was 90% correct. The ancestor is a cautious and arrogant person. If the other party was not really good, he would not be able to create such momentum and be willing to become a stepping stone for others. When the 2 of them were communicating in Hong Mansion, on Duan Lingshan's side, Kier and Huaner were also quite surprised after hearing Duan Lingshan's experience in Hong Mansion. Then Senior Hong Dongquan from Hong Mansion is so easy to talk to, and he also takes the initiative to help Brother Tian to build momentum and make Brother Tian famous. Kier felt that the other party was too kind to her husband, which was simply unreasonable. In fact, Duan Lingtian is still a little confused about this. Logically speaking, the other party should not be so careful about him. This seems to be a deliberate investment in him, just because he may be able to defeat him and advance. Want to become famous? However, there are a few people who are willing to become stepping stones for others. Duan Lingtian was really confused by Hong Dongquan's help from the Hong mansion, and he couldn't figure out why the other party was so kind to him. He couldn't refuse this kind offer. Chapter 46-61. Update the latest chapters as soon as possible. The Hong mansion of the Jianglan Divine Kingdom intentionally spread the news. The news that the strongest man in Chuzhou, Duan Lingtian, came to the capital to challenge Hong Dongquan, the powerful man of the Hong mansion, quickly spread throughout the Jianglan Divine Kingdom and even the surrounding areas. Come on, Hong Dongquan. I do know that he is a strong man who has been famous for many years in our Jianglan Divine Kingdom. He is also a strong man who has entered the 8th level. In terms of strength, in Jianglan Divine Kingdom, not to mention the top 3, he is definitely in the top 5. Something. But that part of Ling God, who is it? Isn't the most powerful person in Chuzhou the Master Tingyun of Shuiyun sect, the top sect in Chuzhou? Somewhere in Jianglan Divine Kingdom, someone asked such a question. You just came out of seclusion, so it's not surprising that you don't know. Someone immediately helped the former to clarify his doubts. Speaking of Duan Lingtian, he is a new strong man in Chuzhou. It is said that he originally practiced in seclusion, and after he came out of seclusion, he went to Shuiyun Zone, challenged Layman Tungyun, and defeated him easily. Because Duan Lingtian was good at it, is the way of swordsmanship that makes Layman Tingyun willing to follow him around, riding in front of and behind him. There are even rumors that this anti-divine sword Duan Lingtian may not be as simple as a 7th level powerhouse. Now it seems that it is indeed the case. If he doesn't have the strength to enter the 8th level, why should he fight with Senior Hong Dongquan? After hearing this, the former suddenly realized, no wonder I said I haven't heard of Duan Lingtian. It turns out that he is a new strong man in Chuzhou. His name is Reverse Divine Sword? That goes hand in hand with Hong Dongquan's name, Prison Suppressing Sword. I don't know who will be better then. The news came out a month ago, and their duel will be in 5 months. Then I will go over and see it with my own eyes. Half a year later, the anti-divine sword Duan Lingtian and the prison-suppressing sword Hong Dongquan will fight on Qingtian Peak near the capital, attracting the attention of not only the people of Jianglan Divine Kingdom, but also people outside Jianglan Divine Kingdom. Be attracted. In the world of Divine Land, there is only one Divine Kingdom, which is Jianglan Divine Kingdom. However, the area occupied by Jianglan Divine Kingdom is less than 1% of the Divine Land world. In addition to Jianglan Divine Kingdom, there are many vast mountains, rivers, rivers and seas in the rest of the Divine Earth world, many of which are very. It is a dangerous place that only powerful monks dare not set foot in. Jianglan Divine Kingdom is not the richest place in the Divine Land world, and is barely at the middle level. The human gathering places in the Divine Land world are not only the Divine Kingdom, but also divine realms, temples, etc. To the north of the Jianglan Divine Kingdom, there is a dangerous place called the Endless Sword Domain, which is said to be a long-lasting place. Previously, 2 strong swordsmen who had entered the extremely high level of the Hadao realm were engaged in a life-and-death fight. They continued to fight for several months, creating a dangerous place. It is also a place that swordsmen love and hate. I love it because entering the Endless Sword realm gives you the opportunity to further improve your swordsmanship. I hate it because there are so many dangers inside, and if you are not careful, you may lose your life in it. Finally, a breakthrough. Otherwise, it will be really embarrassing. Within the Endless Sword Domain, a green figure burst out with light, and then shrank sharply. He rose into the sky, bathed in the rain of swords, without fear, and his body suddenly felt strong. A bright sword light rises, and it will fall like a ravage. The sword rain was annihilated, and he flew away from the Endless Sword Domain in a blink of an eye. After coming out, he paused, revealing a tall and straight figure and a tough and handsome face. Breathing a sigh of relief, he, Feng Su Yufeng, spent half a day arriving at a nearby city. It was also the first city he settled in after coming to this world of gods and earth. In this city, he got the answer to why he was here. At the same time, I also know why there is no power of law here. Just like in the past, Feng Qingyang was eating in a restaurant when he suddenly heard two monks whispering to each other. The sound was not loud, but he could still hear it clearly. In Jianglan Divine Kingdom in the south, two 8th-level monks have agreed to face off at Qingtian Peak near the Divine Kingdom in 3 months. Prison-suppressing knife, Hong Dongchuan? After he came here, he had heard about Hong Dongchuan and knew that he was a well-known strong man from Jianglan Divine Kingdom. He was good at swordsmanship and had amazing strength. He was a person who had reached the 8th level of Taoism. Reverse Divine Sword, Duan Lingtian? When he heard the name and name of Hong Dongquan's opponent, he was stunned again. Then, his face was filled with joy. Xiao Tian. Even if just the name Duan Lingtian is associated with the cultivation realm of the 8th level, he will immediately think of his disciple Duan Lingtian, let alone Duan Lingtian in other people's mouth, and in Excalibur this a name. Isn't the name of the Nishan sword taken from the Nishan realm? I didn't expect to hear about him so soon. Jianglan Divine Kingdom. Feng Qingyang stood up and prepared to say hello to the other two aboriginal friends from the Divine Land world whom he met in the city, and then left here to go to the Jianglan Divine Kingdom in the south to reunite with his disciple Duan Lingtian. After the battle between Xiao Tian and Hong Dongchuan is over, we can make an appointment with him to go deep into the endless sword realm. There are some places that I dare not enter easily by myself. With him, we can explore more deeply. Feng Qingyang secretly said. The two people Feng Qingyang recognized in this city were both sword cultivators, but they were both sword cultivators who had only entered the 6th level of the Tao. There was a gap between him and him who had entered the 7th level before today, let alone those who had just broken through and been promoted to the Tao today. 8 floors his. This world of gods and earth is too wonderful. Once one reaches the 8th level of swordsmanship, one's cultivation will naturally follow suit, and he will break through to the 8th level of the Tao. Unlike the world where his disciple Duan Lingtian was in the past, after entering the 8th level of swordsmanship, you still need to accumulate to a certain level before you can go one step further and step into the 8th level of the most powerful. You too, I have something to do, and I have to leave here temporarily. We will meet again when we have the opportunity in the future. Feng Qingyang said hello to his two friends, but did not tell them what he was going to do. Even if they were friends, he did not feel that he could completely trust them. Even the fact that he most likely came from the new world opened up by the creation chart has never been mentioned to anyone. The wind blew gently out of the city and headed south. Soon, he entered the Jianglan Divine Kingdom. After entering Jiangzhou and arriving at the capital of the Kingdom of God, he was not in a hurry to inquire about the whereabouts of his disciple Duan Lingtian. Instead, he found an inn and stayed there, preparing to wait for his disciple Duan Lingtian to finish fighting Hong Dongchuan before meeting him again. Gather. Take your time. I don't know if Qingzhou is in Jianglan Divine Kingdom or even in the surrounding areas. If you are here, I will come here when I hear the news that Xiao Tian is going to fight someone. When the Nirvana heaven was shattered, he and his Taoist companion, Xue Qingzhou, were so shocked by the changes before them that they temporarily ignored it. They fell in love with each other, and finally separated and wandered to the world of gods and earth. They did not appear in the same place, and they have not found each other yet. Chapter 46-62. Update the latest chapters as soon as possible. Before and after Feng Qingyang came to the capital of Jianglan Divine Kingdom, many gods and powerful people who had survived from the Nishi realm came here, but they did not worry too much and went directly to Duan Lingtian. Coming to this world that is completely unfamiliar to them, they have no sense of security at all. Even the most powerful people here are masters of Taoism, but ordinary Taoism is really nothing within the scope of Jianglan Divine Kingdom. In Jianglan Divine Kingdom, one must at least reach the 4th level of entry to be considered a strong person. Only those who have entered the 6th level or above can dominate some states. For these visitors, Duan Lingtian also told them about his arrangements at Duan Mansion in Chuzhou City, telling them that they could go there. As for the capital, he had not made arrangements yet. After hearing this, a group of gods began to leave the capital together, preparing to leave Jiangzhou and go to Chuzhou. There are also people who have entered the 7th level of the Tao and are sheltered there, and they are also fellow villagers. They all want to go there early and seek shelter. In their opinion, this way they can better survive in this new world. Lord Duan Lingtian, do we have a chance to go back? Some people also asked Duan Lingtian this way, but Duan Lingtian didn't give them hope. He shook his head and said bluntly, there is a high probability that he will not be able to go back. The fact is that if you can get the creation chart, you might not be able to go back. Of course, that's all for the future. At least, he is still some distance away from where he is now. He asked Hong Dongchuan about the new owner of the creation life chart, Yu Luaha, and learned that Yu Luaha himself was a powerful Hudao man. He reorganized the creation life chart in order to unite the world. Two roads, once they are combined successfully, his strength will be further enhanced. Not to mention dominating the world of gods and earth, at least he has no more enemies to defeat. Hadao is extremely difficult. It is difficult to achieve one kind of Tao, let alone a second Tao, because only the unique Tao can be combined. The Tao of forbidden life sacrifices can only be practiced by the owner of the creation chart, so only the owner of the creation chart can follow this way. According to Hong Mansion's most powerful man, the prison-suppressing sword Hong Dongchuan, in the entire divine land world, there are only two people who have successfully combined the two ways. As for whether there are people who have combined the two ways secretly, no one knows. But even if there is, there are only one or two people standing in the sky. Once the owner of the creation chart successfully joins the path of life sacrifice, no one in the world of gods and earth will be able to check and balance him and prevent him from continuing on the path of life sacrifice. In the world of gods and earth, there is another reason why it is difficult to merge with the Tao. That is, monks in the world of gods and earth also have a lifespan limit. They cannot live forever, they can only live forever. Only in the new world opened up by the creation life chart can the rules of eternal life be created through the power of laws, but only the new lives born in it can enjoy those rules. In the divine land world, there is no natural disaster, but there is a lifespan limit. Duan Lingtian asked Hong Dongchuan if people who came out of the creation world and entered the world of gods and earth had already reached the end of their lifespan, would anything bad happen to them? Hong Dongchuan bluntly said that such people would not survive more than 3 days in the world of gods and earth. Because they have left the eternal rules of the creation chart world, they will no longer be protected by the eternal rules. At that time, Duan Lingtian also realized, in all realms, and even in places outside the realm, it is estimated that there will be many extremely powerful people and ordinary cultivators who will die because their lifespan has reached the end after coming to the world of the gods. Of course, Duan Lingtian, his family and friends don't need to think about this issue now, because they are still very young now. Even if you don't become a Taoist, there is no problem in living for tens of thousands of years. After entering the Tao, even if you only enter the first level of the Tao, you can live for more than 100,000 years. A group of deities left and headed to Duanfu in Chuzhou City. But the remaining strongest men were not in a hurry to leave. They were all waiting for the shocking showdown between Duan Lingtian and Hong Dongchuan, a strong man from the Jianglan Divine Kingdom, not long after. They all watched the battle with their own eyes, and maybe they could see from it, out some doorway, understand something. As for those gods, the reason why they did not stay was because they knew that with their own strength, even if they arrived at the scene, they would not be able to clearly see the movements of Duan Lingtian and Hong Dongchuan. Instead of wasting time here, it would be better to go to Chuzhou and settle down as soon as possible to practice in seclusion and improve your strength. Coming to the world of the gods, although there is no calamity to deal with once in 1,000 years, there is a lifespan limit. They don't want to die of old age, so there is only one way, which is to continue to become stronger, have a longer lifespan, and live well. Go. Time flies. In the blink of an eye, there were only 3 days left before the duel between Duan Lingtian and Hong Dongchuan. At this time, the capital of Jianglan Divine Kingdom became completely lively, because basically everyone who is supposed to come has arrived. At least 99% of those who wanted to watch the battle between Duan Lingtian and Duan Lingtian 3 days later came to the capital, and the rest were basically people from nearby areas who planned to rush directly to Qingtian Peak to watch the battle that day. Lord Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian received an uninvited guest, which surprised him. Are you here too? The person who came was none other than layman Ting Yun from Shuiyun sect in Chuzhou. My lord, I will naturally be there to observe your battle with Senior Hong Dongchuan. My swordsmanship is just about to reach the threshold. I have an intuition that your battle with Senior Hong Dongchuan may help me cross the threshold. Just enter the 7th floor. When Layman Tang Yun talked about it, he looked excited and looked like he believed in his intuition. Then he'll congratulate you in advance. Duan Lingtian smiled. He still has a good impression of the Layman Tang Yun. Although he helped the other party a lot, the other party also saved him a lot of worry. It is said that his situation in Chuzhou City was basically controlled by Layman Tingyun in the early stage, until he later took refuge in him. There are more and more fellows, and then Master Tingyun was able to get out. Master Tingyun did not stay long. He said hello to Duan Lingtian and then left, letting Duan Lingtian prepare for the battle 3 days later. Sir, I have confidence in you. My intuition tells me that you will win this battle. These were the last words Master Tingyun said before leaving, and Duan Lingtian couldn't help but shake his head and smile. This guy's intuition is quite accurate. After Master Tingyun left, he continued to meditate in the courtyard of the mansion, sitting by the pool, and continued to study the way of swordsmanship. I don't know when the way of swordsmanship can take a step further and step into the 9th level. Although the memory of old man Wukong that I inherited has the 9th level of swordsmanship, it is not easy to completely integrate it with mine. During the retreat, 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. The day of decisive battle has arrived. Chapter 46-63. Update the latest chapters as soon as possible. A group of people gathered early in the morning around Qingtian Peak near Jianglan Divine Kingdom, and as time went by, there were more and more people. It's the old master of Feihe sect in Hangzhou, Old Man Songhe. As several people came from afar, the old man at the head attracted the attention of many people, and these people recognized him. The old man is wearing a loose robe with pine and crane embroidered on it. His face is old, but his eyes are shining. He looks very energetic, and his temperament and appearance form a contradictory combination. Even people who don't know him are confused. You will be attracted to him involuntarily. He is the most powerful man in Hangzhou, Old Man Songhe, who has entered the 7th level of the Tao. One person exclaimed. This was the first time he saw Old Man Songhe, but it did not affect that he had heard of him before, because Old Man Songhe has been famous in Jianglan Divine Kingdom for a long time. He once attained the 5th level of Taoism and was defeated by 3 monks from the same realm. The whole body retreated from below. That battle was also the battle where Old Man Songhe became famous. Later, whether Old Songhe was promoted to the 6th or 7th level, it attracted a lot of attention. After he was promoted to the 7th level of Taoism, he even defeated another 7th level monk from Hangzhou in a competition. The opponent was also the number 1 person in Hangzhou in the past. After that, Old Man Songhe also became a veritable master of Hangzhou. The strongest one after Old Man Songhe, there were also new 7th level monks in Hangzhou who challenged him, but were defeated by him and defended their glory. In Jianglan God's country, the most powerful people in many states are those who have entered the 7th level or above. Only the more remote states, such as Chuzhou, do not have 7th level monks. But when Duan Lingtian and Zhaoani came to Jianglan after the Kingdom of God, but it raised the strength level of the strongest players in the 2 states. I heard that Old Man Song's second way has already reached the 6th level. That's why he has such strength. I don't know if it's true or not. In my opinion, it's true. Otherwise, why would he be recognized as the first echelon of the 7th level Tao in Jianglan God's country? While many people were whispering, some monks who knew Old Man Songhe came up to say hello to Old Man Songhe, but they basically greeted him in a humble manner because they were not as powerful as Old Man Songhe. After Old Man Songhe finished dealing with the people who came to say hello, he sat cross-legged in the void and began to close his eyes and meditate. At this time, if any new people approach, even those who know Old Songhe, they will not be able to disturb him. Another old man is here. Soon, when more than a dozen figures came from the sky in the distance, someone recognized the leader. He was also an old man, with white hair and a childish face, and an extraordinary temperament. Elder? Some people are confused. That's our new strong man in Yunzhou, Old Man Xingyun. What? Haven't you heard of it? A monk from Yunzhou asked doubtfully. Is he Old Man Xingyun, the new strongest person in Yunzhou? I heard that he is very strong. He not only defeated the original strongest person in Yunzhou, but also a 6th-level Daoist who came from Qianzhou near Yunzhou. The strongest man in Qianzhou, a 7th-level monk, also went to Yunzhou to discuss with him, but was defeated by killed his men. He just rose up not long ago. I haven't really seen him, but I have heard about him. Old man Xingyun is none other than Zhao Ani, who comes from the same place as Duan Lingtian. He is the ancestor of the Qingyun holy sect in the land outside the world in the past. He is a powerful 7th-level existence. He became good friends with Duan Lingtian and was promoted to the strongest 7th level. Try to find after meeting Duan Lingtian several times. During the discussion with Duan Lingtian, his strength has obviously improved a lot. Before the destruction of the Outer Land, although the Outer Land had given birth to many powerful 7th-level warriors, his strength was still at the forefront, second only to Xue Qingzhu and Bibo Tianfu from the 13th city of the Western Jin dynasty, Meng Han, and several others. Now, the dozen or so people behind Qingyun old man Zhao Ani are all saints from the past outside the world. After confirming his identity, they went to Qingyun Mansion in Yunzhou to seek refuge with him. This time, when they learned that the celebrity Duan Lingtian from their original world was going to compete with an 8th-level master from the Jianglan Divine Kingdom, they were also very interested and came with Zhao Ani to join in the fun. It was precisely because of their existence that Zhao Ani couldn't get rid of them and went to Duan Lingtian to reminisce about the past. I thought that after this duel was over, I would get together with Duan Lingtian. Master of the Palace, do you think Lord Duan Lingtian can win? A person behind Zhao Ani asked Zhao Ani. Hearing this, Zhao Ani said calmly, whether he can win or not, we just have to wait and see. In my personal estimation, he will definitely win. Zhao Ani's voice was not loud, but it was not small either. The strength of everyone present was not weak. Basically, they are all powerful people who have entered the Tao. When they heard Zhao Ani's words, many people felt that he was a bit arrogant. This old man Qingyun, he is so optimistic about Duan Lingtian. Does he not know how powerful Senior Hongdongchuan is? I heard that he and Duan Lingtian are fellow villagers, and they are suspected of coming from the world behind the creation life chart. Based on his understanding of Duan Lingtian, it is normal for him to have confidence in Duan Lingtian. The world after the creation life chart? Not long ago, the world behind the creation life chart Pan Xinzhu was seriously injured and escaped, and the lives that escaped from the world of creation Ming Pan? I heard that at that time, several powerful Hadao men joined forces and did not leave Yu Luaha behind, and let Yu Luaha take away the badly injured Chuangshi life ban. After learning that Zhao Ani and Duan Lingtian were suspected to be from the creation world, many people looked at Zhao Ani curiously. There were also some people who didn't know much about the creation chart and asked curiously. After learning the ins and outs of the matter, they couldn't help but be surprised. No wonder Chuzhou and Jiangzhou in the Jianglan Divine Kingdom have had an incident recently. Located above the 7th floor of the entrance road, the strong man on the top turns out to be a person from the world of creation and birth chart. I heard that in the world of the creation chart, there are rules set by the owner of the creation chart. The life born in it can even live forever in the world inside. Eternal life? Real or fake? In the world of gods and earth, even those who are strong in harmony cannot live forever. At this time, even old man Songha couldn't help but open his eyes and walk towards Zhao Ani Luo Song. I have met fellow Daoist Zhao. Fellow Daoist Luo. Zhao Ani has been here for a while and heard many people mentioning the old man Songha. He knew that the other party was quite powerful and was a leader among the 7th-level Daoists in Jianglan Divine Kingdom, so he did not dare to neglect and responded with a smile. Fellow Daoist Zhao, do you really come from the world in the creation chart? Songha old man Luo Song was obviously also quite curious about this. Faced with Luo Song's inquiry, Zhao Ani was about to speak, but by chance, at this moment, he saw someone out of the corner of his eye, and he couldn't help but look excited for a moment. It's him. He is here too. Chapter 46-64. Update the latest chapters as soon as possible. When Zhao Ani looked over, Feng Qingyang, who had just arrived at the scene, also saw him. After nodding and smiling at him, he also approached Yukong. Recently, when I was in the capital of Jianglan Divine Kingdom, I often heard the name of the old man Zhaoani from Qingyun in Yunzhou. I guessed it was you at that time. I didn't expect to meet so soon. Feng Qingyang came not far from Zhaoani and said with a smile, Senior Feng, I didn't expect to meet you here. Zhaoani also said with a smile, but with a bit of respect in his tone, because he and Duan Lingtian are equals, and Feng Qingyang is Duan Lingxian's master, and he has always been called the other person senior. Even if the other person was in the countergod world in the past, he was told many times that he didn't need to be called that. This is the number one person in Hangzhou, Old Man Songha, fellow Taoist Luo Song. Zhaoani did not ignore Luo Song for too long, and introduced him to Feng Qingyang at the right time. He had heard about Luo Song. If Luo Song really mastered the second path and reached the 6th level as the rumors said, then he would definitely not be his opponent. Maybe even the senior Feng in front of him would not be his opponent. I have been in the capital for a while and have heard of Taoist brother Luo Song. Feng Qingyang nodded to Luo Song and smiled friendly. Zhaoani then introduced Feng Qingyang to Luo Song, fellow Taoist Luo Song. This is the master of Duan Lingtian, one of the two protagonists today. Feng Qingyang. Because Duan Lingtian and I are the same generation, I call him senior. You can just discuss friendship with him as an equal. After hearing Zhao Inyas' introduction to Feng Qingyang, Luo Song was shocked. This was Duan Lingxian's master? Luo Song, I have met fellow Taoist Feng. He can still look down on Zhaoani, but he dare not look down on Feng Qingyang. After all, he is Duan Lingxian's master. Duan Lingtian is a powerful person who has entered the 8th level of Taoism. Fellow Taoist Luo Song, didn't you just ask me if I came from the creation life plan world? I, Duan Lingtian, and Senior Feng are all from the creation life plan world. Duan Lingtian and Senior Feng, even more so ours the world's top powerhouse. Zhaoani said with a smile. Luo Song was startled, looked at Feng Qingyang, and asked tentatively, Fellow Taoist Feng, you must not have just entered the 7th level of Taoism, right? Zhaoani just wanted to say that although Feng Qingyang is also on the 7th level, his strength is far superior to that of ordinary 7th level people. At least he is not Feng Qingyang's opponent. However, Feng Qingyang was the first to speak. I didn't break through earlier than my disciple. I was lucky enough to break through to the 8th level recently. One sentence shocked Zhaoani and the people behind him. Senior Feng, you made a breakthrough? Zhaoani said in surprise, and a group of the strongest, half-saints, and saints from the outside world behind him also congratulated Feng Qing, although it was basically their first time. Seeing the wind blowing gently, it does not affect them to the wind. Qing Yang spreads kindness. Duan Lingtian smiled and nodded in response. Another one enters the 8th level. As Feng Qingyang spoke, Luo Song was shocked. Although the second Tao he had comprehended had reached the 6th level, he was still far from his opponent in the face of the being who had comprehended the 8th level. Any one of the 10,000 ways, the further you understand it, the more outrageous the gap becomes. Others present were also shocked when they found out that Feng Qingyang was Duan Lingxian's master and a powerful person at the 8th level. Hello, fellow Taoist Feng, I am. The wind is friendly. A group of people gathered around and took the initiative to say hello to Feng Qingyang. They were all very enthusiastic. For a time, Feng Qingyang seemed to be the absolute protagonist before the arrival of Duan Lingtian and Hong Dongchuan, and was very popular. It wasn't until one of today's two protagonists, Hong Dongchuan, appeared that everyone's attention shifted. Most people knew Hong Dongchuan and came forward to say hello. Sir Hong Dongchuan, are you sure of the battle today? Nothing. What people didn't expect was that as soon as Hong Dongchuan opened his mouth, he bluntly said that he was not sure, which shocked everyone present. They never expected that Hong Dongchuan would be timid before fighting, or that he would think he was inferior to his opponent before fighting. Lord Hong Dongchuan, are you kidding me? If you were not sure, how could you make an appointment with him to fight at Qingtian Peak? Faced with this inquiry, Hong Dongchuan said calmly, although I am not sure, I still want to have a discussion with him and see his methods. As Hong Dongchuan finished speaking, Feng Qingyang and Zhaoani saw Duan Lingtian coming from a distance. Next to Duan Lingtian, there were two young women wearing veils and an old man. The two women were his wives Kier and Huaner. As for the old man, he is layman Ting Yun from Shuiyun sect in Chuzhou. Master? As soon as Duan Lingtian came over, he saw his master, and his face suddenly showed surprise. The same was true for Kier and Huaner beside him. They didn't expect to be so unexpected and encounter such a surprise here. Master? Layman Tang Yuan on the side heard Duan Lingtian looking at a young man in the distance in surprise and calling him master, and his attention was immediately attracted. Because, when he was still in Duan Mansion in Chuzhou, he heard many people who came to Duan Lingtian mention some things in the world of creation and birth chart. He knew that Lord Duan Lingtian had a master who was not much weaker than him. He was already on the 7th level of Taoism when he and Master Duan Lingtian were separated. Ha ha! Shout Hian. Feng Qingyang smiled and ran towards Duan Lingtian in both directions. In fact, it really depends on the time. The two of them haven't been separated for long, but when they meet again, they are in another world, which makes the two of them feel like they are separated from each other, as if they had been separated for thousands of years for a long time. Master. Kier and Huaner also smiled and said hello. Seeing the two girls, Feng Qingyang gave a bitter smile. Xiaotian, you were very careful and didn't let my two disciples and my wife get separated. It was me. Your wife was actually not far away from me at the time, but because I was too concerned about the external situation, so much so that I and she was dispersed by the turbulent space of destruction. Ahem. Duan Lingtian coughed and directly stabbed his master's heart on a spiritual level. Master, in fact, your other two disciples and wives have not separated from me, but they are still staying in Chuzhou. There. In addition, my parents didn't get separated from me either. Hearing this, Feng Qingyang was silent for a moment, then glared at Duan Lingtian angrily. You kid, are you trying to make me angry? Haha. Duan Lingtian laughed and then said, Master, after you finish watching the showdown between me and Senior Hong Dongchuan, go to Duan Mansion in Chuzhou City. Master's second sister is also there now. Who knew? When she heard this, Feng Qingyang's pupil shrank, and then she waved her hands repeatedly. I won't go there if she's here. Chapter 46-65. Update the latest chapters as soon as possible. Seeing the look on his master's face like a mouse seeing a cat, Duan Lingtian was stunned for a moment, then asked with a wicked smile, Master, there seems to be some kind of story between you and the second sister of your master. What's the story? Feng Qingyang said angrily. I just think she is old and disrespectful, and I don't want to get too close to her. In the past, he accompanied his Taoist companion more than once to visit relatives in the 13th city of the Western Jin dynasty, outside the boundary. The brothers and sisters are okay, but the second sister is a headache, following them all the time. Not at all. I don't have the consciousness to be a light bulb. In the end, he was a little annoyed when he looked at each other. If possible, he really didn't want to see the other party. Of course, it would be impossible for him to express his inner thoughts in front of his disciples. After the destruction of the Nirvana heaven and the collapse of the turbulent space, you appeared directly in Jianglan Divine Kingdom? Feng Qingyang changed the subject and asked. He knew that his disciples' family, relatives, and friends were all in the small world inside his body, but in the past, with the destruction of the Nirvana sky and the collapse of the turbulent space, the small world inside the body also disappeared. There was definitely no way to allow those lives to continue. Hidden inside. Duan Lingtian nodded. We appeared in Chuzhou of the Jianglan Divine Kingdom. After briefly talking to his master, Duan Lingtian saw people from the Hong Mansion coming, led by the ancestor of the Hong family, Hong Dongchuan. But the Hong Mansion, the head of the palace, who is also the clan leader, did not come with him. He presumably stayed in the capital. Sit in Hong Mansion. Brother Lingtian, is this your master? After Hong Dongchuan came over, he greeted Duan Lingtian with a smile. For those who didn't know, he might have thought that he and Duan Lingtian were old friends for many years because his tone was too familiar and enthusiastic. Brother Hong. Duan Lingtian said hello and then nodded. This is my master, Feng Qingyang. Master, this is Brother Hong from the Hong Mansion, and my opponent today, the prison-suppressing sword Hong Dongchuan. Although Feng Qingyang knew who Duan Lingtian's opponent was, she had no idea that his disciple was so familiar with him. From what he had just said to others, it seemed more like he was building momentum and paving the way for his disciple. Then I'll ask you to call me Brother Hong. Feng Qingyang looked at Hong Dongchuan and greeted with a smile. Of course, no problem. Let's talk about our own things. We'll call you Brother Feng. Hong Dongchuan smiled and nodded. Brother Feng, you are really powerful. You can actually have a disciple as talented and evil as Brother Lingtian. Like me, Hong Dongchuan, I have accepted many disciples in my life, but few of them have achieved success. As soon as Hong Dongchuan said this, 2 of the dozen or so people following behind him looked a little embarrassed, and one person even touched his nose in embarrassment. It was as if they were deeply afraid that others would not know that they were Hong Dongquan's disciples. I didn't expect it either. Feng Qingyang responded with a smile, not forgetting to show off. Speaking of which, I only accepted such a disciple, and most of the time I just let him go. I didn't expect him to reach this point and still be ahead of me. As soon as these words came out, the scene fell into a brief silence. They were all installed by him. Ahem. Hong Dongchuan coughed twice and felt that he could no longer talk to the other party. Brother Feng, you and I will talk later. Today, I will first learn Brother Lingshan's methods, and then I will entertain you well. Hearing this, Feng Qingyang responded with a smile. When the other people present heard Hong Dongquan's words, their eyes suddenly lit up. They had already been impatient when Hong Dongchuan arrived. Just when Duan Lingtian and Hong Dongchuan greeted each other, they separated on 2 sides, and the others stayed away, giving them a large space to confront each other. Another group of people came from afar. Seeing the person coming, many people gasped. They are from the royal family. Jianglan Divine Kingdom, royal family. However, although many people came from the royal family of Jianglan Divine Kingdom, the strongest among those who came were only the 2 who had entered the 7th level, and none of the top 4 people in the royal family came. Among the royal family of Jianglan Divine Kingdom, there are 4 people above the 8th level. 2 of them have entered the 8th level, 1 has entered the 9th level, and 1 is said to have entered the Hadao. I've met Brother Hong. Brother Hong. We are here to cheer you on. The 2 royal family members on the 7th floor greeted Hong Dongchuan with a smile, and their words were quite familiar. I didn't expect you 2 to come. Brother Lingtian and I are about to start a battle, so I want to introduce you to you now. I will give you a proper introduction after this battle is over. Hong Dongchuan also bowed his hands to the 2 of them and responded with a smile. Easy to say, you were busy. Immediately afterwards, the attention of everyone present was focused on Duan Lingtian and Hong Dongchuan. Most people's breathing stagnated for a moment, waiting for the start of this battle. Duan Lingtian stared at Hong Dongchuan from the air. When Hong Dongquan's face turned serious, he still had a calm expression. He has enough confidence to face another 8th-level Taoist like this. Even looking at the entire world of gods and earth, he doesn't think anyone who has entered the 8th level can be stronger than him. Just because he not only comprehended the way of swordsmanship to the 8th level, but also comprehended the way of control and the way of infinity to the 7th level. These are the benefits gained from his fusion of the memories left by Old Man Wukong. If he were allowed to comprehend it on his own, no matter how good his cultivation resources were and how powerful he was, it would be difficult for him to comprehend the second path to the 7th level, let alone the 3rd level. Zhongdao also realized the 7th level. At first, he was not clear about this, but layman Tang Yun solved his doubts. Certainly, in this battle with Hong Dongchuan, he had no intention of using all his strength. I just planned to use the method of control additionally. Wow! Suddenly, Hong Dongquan's robes shook, and then with him as the center, it seemed as if the eye of a hurricane appeared. The strong wind swept across, shaking the void, making bursts of dull sounds. This is not the law of wind, and there is no elemental law in this world of gods and earth. This is the effect produced by Hong Dongquan's vast power being released. The power of entering the 8th level cannot be compared with that of entering the 7th level. In the past, the monsters behind the mysterious entrances had only the strength of the 8th level and no elemental laws to rely on. However, they were able to defeat the monsters with only the strength of the 8th level and one of the 10,000 ways they mastered. The most powerful 7th level who has mastered the elemental laws of Dzogchen. Although this is due to the fact that the 10,000 Daos the monster controls is stronger, the higher level of power it controls cannot be underestimated. Boom. With an explosion, the Hong Dongchuan man had disappeared on the spot. As the biting wind blew up, a knife shadow appeared in his hand. It was a virtual shadow at first, then quickly solidified and turned into a giant knife. The next moment, the sword light burst out, roaring out with a terrifying sword path. Not only. At the same time as the sword light flashed out, gusts of dark wind blew up, as if there were ghosts crying and wolves howling, which made people feel horrified when they heard it, as if they were in hell. This is also the second way that Hong Dongchuan has mastered, the way of purgatory. Chapter 46-66. Update the latest chapters as soon as possible. The Tao of Purgatory is also the Tao that Hong Dongchuan is best at besides the Tao of Swords. He has already understood it to the 6th level, and when combined with the Tao of Swords, it is very powerful. Buzz. Facing Hong Dongchuan's sword light, Duan Lingtian was not afraid at all. He faced him head-on without any intention of letting go, because this was the greatest respect for his opponent. Call out. The sword light roared out, sharp and bright, like streaks in the void, crossing the sky. At the same time, the sword light seemed to be dragged by an invisible hand in the void, killing him at a faster speed, and met Hong Dongchuan's sword light. He was fearless and wanted to confront him head-on. Boom. The brief exchange bloomed with dazzling brilliance, and also extended an extremely terrifying power storm, raging towards the surroundings. Hong Dongchuan's clothes shook, and he stepped back. Duan Lingtian also took 2 steps back. As for the group of onlookers, except for those above the 7th level who were still standing there watching, those below the 7th level were forced to retreat continuously. Those who only had the strength of the 1st and 2nd levels were almost thrown out. Go. Boom. There was another loud noise, and after a tentative blow at each other, Duan Lingtian and Hong Dongchuan separated again and faced off again. Duan Lingshan's face was calm and his eyes were a little more serious. On the other hand, Hong Dongchuan's face was tense and his eyes were solemn. At this moment, everyone onlookers could not help but marvel. What a powerful force! Is this a duel at the 8th level? Too strong. Senior Hong Dongchuan, an 8th level expert who has been famous in Jianglan Divine Kingdom for many years, it is recognized that he is invincible below the 9th level. Even the 2 8th level members of the royal family are not as good as senior Hong Dongchuan when fighting alone. Opponent. Yes, in our Jianglan Divine Kingdom, only the 2 beings from the royal family who have entered the 9th level and above can surely defeat Master Hong Dongchuan. In the meantime, he didn't actually gain the upper hand. It's really shocking. This anti-sword Duan Lingtian from Chuzhou seems to have a lot of tricks. The people participating in the discussion now are basically people from the lowest level of the Tao, above the 4th level, especially those from the 7th level who are present. Except for Feng Qingyang, who knows Duan Lingshan's in details, the rest of them have shown their faces at this time. He stared at Duan Lingtian with a solemn expression. They could see that in the brief trial just now, this one had the upper hand, while Hong Dongchuan was at a disadvantage. Haha, so happy. Hong Dongchuan laughed and his face turned slightly red. Brother Lingtian, I haven't made such a heartfelt move for a long time. You are very strong. Next, I will show off my ability to beat the enemy. Don't hold anything back. As soon as he finished speaking, Hong Dongchuan's strength surged. Even his body seemed to be a little stronger at this moment. The sense of oppression emanating from his body became even stronger, making the weaker onlookers stronger. Everyone has a slight feeling of suffocation feel. Brother Hong, since you said so, we'll wait and see. Duan Lingtian also smiled, and the indifference on his face softened a bit at this time, becoming slightly more solemn. The sword energy around his body was everywhere. The sword path was ethereal, and the way of control followed him like a shadow, as if he had everything under control in the palm of his hand. Boom. There was another earth-shaking loud noise, but Hong Dongchuan's strength surged and turned into a huge and incomparable sword of the sky. Roaring out at Duan Lingtian, the sharp sword energy cut the air, and the momentum was loud, vast and astonishing. Seeing this, Duan Lingtian also turned into a sword with his body. A huge sword came out across the sky and wandered through the void. It was like the birth sword of a terrifying swordsman from the ancient times. It bloomed with a frightening cold light, giving the crowd a chilling look. Everyone, it brings fear from the heart, and this fear continues to grow. That's right. This time, Duan Lingtian also secretly activated the infinite way. All three come out at once. However, there are still some reservations, giving the impression that the infinite way has been understood to the 6th level. In fact, his infinite path is already at the 7th level. With almost all his strength, Duan Lingshan's strength was enough to crush Hong Dongchuan. Therefore, with the explosion of this attack, a large area at the top of Qingtian Peak was covered by sword and knife light, and then was shoveled away. Half done, ground mountains collapsed, wild animals fled, and thick dust rose everywhere. However, it did not affect the group of onlookers standing above Qingtian Peak, let alone today's two protagonists. Boom, boom. The giant sword and the giant knife intersected together, and the onlookers felt that their eyes were shrouded in a bright light. It was the intersection of two powerful forces, and the extended light of power made them unable to see clearly inside for a short time. So what happened? There are also brave people who extend their spiritual thoughts, but are crushed in a blink of an eye. Their souls are injured. Their faces are pale, and even worse, their 7 orifices are bleeding, and their bodies are crumbling. This storm came and went away quickly. In the blink of an eye, the light that affected the vision disappeared, and 2 figures appeared in front of everyone. But I saw that Duan Lingtian was unscathed. On the other hand, Hong Dongquan's robes were torn, his face was pale, his mouth was bleeding, his eyes were filled with horror, and his face was filled with astonishment. It took him a moment to come to his senses, and he raised his hands to Duan Lingtian. Brother Lingtian, I thought I had already looked down upon him. Now it seems that I still underestimated you before. I really didn't expect it. I didn't expect it. With that blow just now, he knew that Duan Lingtian had held back. In fact, the reason why there was not too much power aftermath that affected the onlookers was because Duan Lingtian took action to suppress the power aftermath. Of course, Duan Lingtian is not a holy mother, and he cannot care about the lives of those who are watching the excitement. However, among those watching the excitement, there were also his 2 wives, and he naturally did not want to affect them too much. His master was enough to help protect his 2 wives in the test attack just now. But in the decisive blow later, his master may not be able to protect the 2 of them. He had to step in to relieve the worries. This is, Lord Hong Dongchuan, have you lost? Unlike the high-level people present, who had witnessed the tentative confrontation just now, they had already vaguely guessed the outcome of this duel. Most of the people who entered the lower level were stunned by the scene in front of them. Hong Dongchuan, the famous and powerful man of Jianglan Divine Kingdom, who was considered by many to be the 3rd strongest person in Jianglan Divine Kingdom, actually lost? He was defeated by a new rising star from Chuzhou. He is a prison sword. How could he be defeated by an unknown person in the past? Not far away, Feng Qingyang looked at the scene in front of him, with a hint of bitterness on his lips. It seems that even if he breaks through, there is still a long way to go between him and his disciple. Chapter 46-67. Update the latest chapters as soon as possible. Hong Dongquan's defeat shocked the entire audience. Except for a few strong people who could vaguely see the end from the test blow just now, most people still had no idea. So, they were all very shocked. As the person involved, Hong Dongchuan knew that he might lose, but he never expected that he would lose so politely and miserably. At least for him, it was miserable. He originally thought that even if Duan Lingtian defeated him, he would still be slightly better, because according to his guess, Duan Lingtian had only mastered the 8th level of swordsmanship and had surpassed him in another way, reaching the 7th level. But he didn't expect that in addition to this, Duan Lingtian also understood the 3rd level of Dao. Shock him. Of course, he didn't know that Duan Lingshan's 3rd path was also the 7th level, but it was just a secret that gave him this feeling. But even so, he was still crushed, defeated without any temper. Brother Lingtian, you hit it too deep? Hong Dongchuan sighed for a while, and then introduced the 2 7th level members of the royal family to Duan Lingtian. Originally, He planned to directly invite Duan Lingtian to bring his master back to Hong Mansion as a guest. But I didn't expect that the royal family sent a message to let him introduce. Even they were surprised by Duan Lingshan's power. They did not expect that such a person would appear quietly in Jianglan Divine Kingdom, and they all thought that they must report it to their superiors after returning. If he could be brought into the royal family to make sacrifices, it would undoubtedly be even more powerful for the royal family. Lord Duan Lingtian. The attitude of the two of them was very low. You must know that when they were outside, even if they were ordinary 8th-level disciples who were better than them, they would never be like this. They were just a little more polite. Now, in their eyes, Duan Lingtian is not an ordinary 8th-level Taoist. Duan Lingtian also responded politely. After greeting each other, Duan Lingkai took his wife, master, and Zhaoani and left with Hong Dongchuan. The layman Tang Yun from Shuiyun sect in Chuzhou naturally followed behind. For him, if someone didn't take him as a guest in a place like Hong Mansion, with his strength and status, even if he went there, not to mention Hong Dongchuan, the ancestor of Hong Mansion, even if he was the head of Hong Mansion, he would not be able to go there. Not necessarily Noodle. After learning from Duan Lingtian that layman Ting Yun had helped Duan Lingtian in the past, Hong Dongchuan also chatted with him a few words and praised him for his sharp eyesight, which made layman Ting Yun extremely excited. He was like an old naughty boy who had no trace of his past in Shuiyun sect. The serious posture in front of the doorman. When Duan Lingtian went to Hong Mansion as a guest, the result of today's battle at Qingtian Peak spread quickly as the spectators left. In the nearest capital of Jianglan Divine Kingdom, all gossip was suppressed for a while, and all topics began to revolve around the just-concluded battle at Qingtian Peak. Because my strength was too low, I felt that I wouldn't be able to see anything when I arrived at the scene. I might even be seriously injured or even killed by the residual power of the power, so I didn't go. However, this result still scared me. The man from Chu Duan Lingtian, the state's anti-god sword, actually won. What? It's not Senior Hong Dongchuan who wins? Who is Duan Lingtian? His strength is so terrifying that even the prison-suppressing sword was defeated by him. After this battle, the anti-god sword Duan Lingtian will be famous in the Jianglan Divine Kingdom and even the surrounding areas. I heard that he challenged Hong Dongchuan just to become famous. He is from the creation world, and he became famous so that his family and friends who are living abroad can come to him as soon as possible after receiving news from him. People who create the birth chart world? Aren't the lives in the creation birth chart the source of power kept captive by the owner of the creation birth chart? As long as the time is right, you can rely on the life in the creation birth chart to walk in life. The way of sacrifice. I really didn't expect that such a powerful person could appear in the world of creation life chart. Regarding Duan Lingshan's purpose, the Hong Mansion naturally helped to publicize it, because the Hong Mansion knew Duan Lingshan's purpose of becoming famous, and after getting Duan Lingshan's permission, it also publicized it. In this way, even if Duan Lingshan's relatives and friends are not nearby, someone will enthusiastically bring the news out. If they can help Duan Lingtian find his relatives and friends, wouldn't it be possible to get on the line with Duan Lingtian, or even make friends? The current Duan Lingtian is no longer the #1 strongman in Chuzhou with low gold content within the Jianglan Divine Kingdom. He has now truly stood up after defeating Hong Dongchuan, an 8th-level master of the Hong Mansion, River, the first echelon of Lanshan Kingdom. It won't be long before the reputation of Duan Lingtian, his anti-god sword, will be spread in every corner of Jianglan Divine Kingdom. And all this is what Duan Lingtian is happy to see. Duan Lingtian and his party stayed in Hong Mansion for a few days before gradually leaving. Duan Lingtian took his 2 wives, his master Feng Qingyang and layman Tang Yun, and left the capital of Jianglan Divine Kingdom, Jiangzhou, and returned to Chuzhou. He planned to go to Chuzhou, settle down his 2 wives, and then go to the endless sword domain with his master Feng Qingyang. It's not convenient to take 2 wives with you there. According to his master, with his master's strength, he dare not go deep into some places, but inside, it can indeed enhance his understanding of the sword, and this is what Duan Lingtian urgently needs at the moment. Although he has integrated all the memories of Old Man Wukong, including the 9th level of swordsmanship, when he obtained the memory of Old Man Wukong, he was not a blank sheet after all. He had already stepped out of his own swordsmanship and was unable to comprehend and control it. The road, the infinite road, is also smooth and smooth. He needs to master it and find his own way before he can hope to reach the 9th level of swordsmanship. He has now encountered a bottleneck. The memory of the old man Wukong is of little help to him in terms of swordsmanship. He must either slowly comprehend the swordsmanship himself and achieve further improvement, or else he needs to have other skills. It's opportunity. Hearing his master mention the endless sword domain, which is also known as the holy land for sword cultivators in the world of gods and earth, he naturally wanted to go and see it. Now, in Jianglan Divine Kingdom, with the end of his battle with Hong Dongchuan, he knows that his purpose has been achieved. As long as his family, relatives, and friends are in Jianglan Divine Kingdom, and even the surrounding areas, as long as they are not in the news in a particularly closed place, the message will definitely be received. When the time comes, they will naturally go to Jianglan Divine Kingdom and Duan Mansion in Chuzhou City to seek refuge with him. Sir, the city of Chuzhou is ahead. Duan Lingtian and his party returned to Chuzhou. Instead of flying by themselves, they sat on Master Tinjian's mount, a huge crane. This was also a crane that had entered the Taoist realm. It's just a bird, and with great strength, extremely fast. After hearing what Master Tingyun said, Duan Lingtian, Kier, and Huana were fine, but Feng Qingyang said to Duan Lingtian with a wry smile, Xiaotian, I want to see your second sister. Please go back and have a good time with your family gather. Find me when you're about to leave. Tung Yun and I will return to Shuiyun sect. As soon as Feng Qingyang said these words, Duan Lingtian was startled, but layman Ting Yun was overjoyed. Shuiyun sect, welcome Senior Feng Qingyang to come and give guidance. He never expected that this giant Buddha would be interested in going to their Shuiyun sect. This was undoubtedly a great joy for their Shuiyun sect. If it were spread a little bit, everyone would feel that the master and disciple of Shuiyun sect and Duan Lingtian are very close. Chapter 46-68. Update the latest chapters as soon as possible. Seeing that Master Feng Qingyang was afraid of his second sister, Yu Shao, as if he was afraid of a savage beast, Duan Lingtian became even more curious, and the fire of gossip in his heart couldn't help but burn brightly. Master, what's the situation between you and that person? Duan Lingtian asked curiously. Feng Qingyang glared at him angrily. Children should stop asking about adults' matters. Tung Yun, after sending my disciple and my 2 disciples and wives outside Chuzhou City, you take me to Shuiyun sect. After Feng Qingyang finished speaking, he said to layman Teng Yun, who responded with yes excitedly. Master, even if you don't let me tell you, Uncle Xiao will probably know about the gathering of master and disciple from other people, right? Now, there must be people from the original world and outside the world who know about this. People from the land went to Chuzhou Duanfu and Zhouqing has taken refuge with me. As long as they mention the reunion of you and me, it will be difficult for Uncle Yu Shao not to know about it. Duan Lingtian said helplessly. He didn't want Master Yu Shao to know about this matter afterwards. His master thought he was the one who leaked the secret. As long as you don't tell her that I'm in Shuiyun sect. Feng Qingyang shook her head and said, only a few of us know about my going to Shuiyun sect. If you don't tell her, she won't know. After you finish what you are doing, come to Shuiyun sect to find me, and we will set off for the endless sword domain immediately. There is a paradise for our sword cultivators. When you go there, you will definitely feel that your trip is worthwhile. Hearing his master's words, Duan Lingtian naturally became more curious about the endless sword realm, thinking about going back to make arrangements this time. How Kier and Huana reunited with their other 2 wives and parents for a few days, and then went to Shuiyun sect to find their master. Leaving Jianglan Divine Kingdom and heading to the endless sword domain. Soon, Duan Lingtian and his party arrived at Chuzhou City. After Master Feng Qingyang left with Master Tung Yun, Duan Lingtian took his wife back to the Duan mansion. Not long after entering Duan's residence, when he went to his parents to say hello and tell them that he was back, a figure in his parents' courtyard made Duan Lingtian feel a tremble in his heart. Kier, who was next to him, had already rushed up. Tears of excitement fell down. Si Ling. At this moment, in addition to her parents, there was also a young and beautiful woman in the courtyard, Duan Siling. the daughter of Duan Lingtian and Kier. Duan Lingtian didn't expect to see his daughter when he came back this time. Of course, it was not difficult for him to guess that his battle with Hong Dongchuan must have caused an uproar in Jianglan Divine Kingdom and even the surrounding areas. His daughter Duan Xiling, who was also nearby, heard about it, so she found Chuzhou Prefecture. City Duan Mansion. Mother. Duan Xiling and her mother hugged each other and burst into tears with excitement. At the same time, she looked at Duan Lingtian, who was standing behind her, with a look of surprise in her eyes. Father, Aunt Huan. She was equally excited to see Huaner. Before her mother woke up that year, Huaner had always been by her side to take care of her, and the relationship between the two had always been very good. It's good to come back. This time I come back with your mother and won't leave again. Huaner was smiling, and her tone was full of endearment. Xiling, are you the only one? The excitement on Duan Lingshan's face gradually faded, and he asked with a smile. Last time, when Xuana came, Xiao Jin was with her. Duan Xiling nodded, which made Duan Lingtian slightly disappointed, but overall he was still very happy. After all, his daughter was found. Tianer, Tianhua's father has also returned before Xiling, Duan Ruffing said to Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingshan's eyes lit up, and he also realized that his approach was correct. His family and friends came back from all over for reunions. I think that as long as he further becomes famous in the world of the gods, all his family and friends will always come back for reunions. In the next few days, Duan Lingtian spent time with his family. As his departure was about to begin, he also wanted to spend a few more days with his family. If I leave this time, I'm afraid it will take a while before I come back. His goal is not only to enter the endless sword domain, but also to further improve his strength and even become famous. He felt that he was still not famous enough. If news about Duan Lingtian spreads throughout the world of God, it will be just around the corner for all the family members and friends who have been exiled to the world of God to gather together. Just when Duan Lingtian was immersed in the happiness of his family, an unexpected guest came to see him. Uncle Yu. Seeing Yu Xiao coming to her door, Duan Lingtian was a little puzzled. Speaking of which, he hadn't seen her yet since he was not at her residence in Duan Mansion. He went to visit her but failed. Master-nephew Duan, your master. Where is my brother-in-law? Yu Xiao got straight to the point and asked, Did I hear that you were fighting against Hong Dongchuan at Qingtian Peak of Jianglan Divine Kingdom? He was also watching the battle, and I heard that he had also entered the 8th level of the Dao. He didn't follow. Are you coming back together? No. Duan Lingtian had long been prepared to ask Yu Xiao about this, so he shook his head immediately. In this strange world, he is alone like a rootless duckweed. If he doesn't find you, forget it. He has found you. Why didn't he come back with you? Yu Xiao frowned, and there was a hint of disappointment on the cheeks of the slightly immature girl. Master said that he wants to find his wife. Duan Lingtian had already prepared his words, but he responded fluently. Hearing this, Yu Xiao fell silent. After a moment, she said hello to Duan Lingtian and left with a slightly lost and desolate figure. As soon as she left, Feng Tianwu next to Duan Lingtian said in a low voice, Brother Tian, look at this uncle's reaction. She most likely likes the master. Emotionally, women are much more sensitive than men. No way. Duan Lingtian was surprised and his eyes widened. He couldn't believe it at first, but when he thought about his master who was usually fearless, when he mentioned Yu Xiao, he looked like a mouse meets a cat. It looks like it, but I don't think it's complete either. No way. For a moment, he started to gossip in his heart, thinking that when I see master later, I will definitely ask him. Chuzhou City, inside an inn, a bald man sat in the courtyard of a guest room, listening to the report of his subordinates, his brows knitted together. Duan Lingtian, are you back so soon? If Duan Lingtian were here, he would be able to recognize at a glance that this bald man was none other than the top strong man in the 3 realms of the past, the Lei Hong of the Mingguang realm. He had always regarded him as a hidden danger and was almost killed by him. People. However, after coming to the world of gods and earth, Duan Lingtian subconsciously thought that people like Lei Hong would not miss the opportunity to enter the Babel Tower to improve his strength. He should have died in the Babel Tower and became the new creation horoscope. Major the nourishment of the way of refining life and offering sacrifices. Lei Hong can appear here now, which shows that he was not in the Tower of Babel at that time. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.